This is the new Skoda Kylaq. It's under 4 meters long, and that means it's coming to take on the Mahindra XUV, the Hyundai Venue, Kia Sonet, Maruti Brezza, and the whole gang. This is a model that's going to sit below the Kylaq in Skoda's SUV lineup. And in case you're wondering why it's all decked up, well, this is not going to be a paint shade or sticker job on offer. Skoda doesn't want you or me to see what the final production version will look like just yet. This is a pre-production model. We are at the coast track in Coimbatore, and we're going to be driving it for a few laps on the main track and also experiencing ride comfort. Our job is to give a bit of feedback to the Skoda team, some of which might even be incorporated on the final production model. But that's for a later day. Over this video, I'll introduce you to what is Skoda's most important SUV yet. First things first, the Kylaq name. Now, Skoda ran a contest across India inviting entries for the name of its new compact SUV. They got over 2 lakh entries, 20,000 plus unique names, and the one that they finally chose was Kylaq. It derives its name from Mount Kailash, and it also translates to crystal in Sanskrit.
Onto the way it looks. Even under the garb, it's easy to identify this as a Skoda. There are clean lines all around, though frontal lighting will be a point of distinction to the Kylaq.
It's got a split headlamp setup, so LED DRLs up top, LED projector headlamps lower down, so that's something of interest. It's got a nice and wide Skoda grille that takes up a lot of space on the front end, gives it a slightly imposing stance. Now, the Kylaq will be the first model in India to sport elements of Skoda's new modern solid design language, which means very clean surfacing, something that we saw on the Elrock electric vehicle that was revealed just a few weeks ago. You can check this video out to know how that looks, but if it looks anything like that, this is going to be a pretty attractive car. It's at the size that you can actually tell the Kylaq size. It's a sub 4 meter car. Overall length measures 3995 millimeters. This one has a 2566 millimeter wheelbase. Compare that to a Kylaq that has a 2651 millimeter wheelbase. So a lot of the length reduction has actually come between the wheels. Even so, the Kylaq's wheelbase is second only to the Mahindra XUV 3XO in the segment, and that does come with the promise of a good amount of space at the back. Not that I'm saying anything as of now.
The other number of interest is 189 millimeters of ground clearance. It's a sufficient figure, but down on the Tata Nexon's class best 208 millimeter figure.
Now, talking specific details at the sides, the Kylaq runs on 17-inch rims. The outside rearview mirrors get a turning indicator strip. Now, if I run my hands on the doors, I can tell that surfacing is a bit simpler than what we've seen on the Kylaq. But again, this is just a hands-on feel. I haven't seen the final product. Wheelbase, again, looks smaller, but you get roof rails over here, a pretty chunky and substantial C-pillar here. I like the door handles, again, feel very solid in your hands. Also, one thing that we associate with Skodas, that sound on door shut is intact. When you come towards the back, there is a very clear distinction to the Kylaq, and that comes in these tail lamps. These lights protrude out and have a squared out effect to add some muscle to the design. Now, if I talk specifically of the tail area, if you could just bring the camera here. Now, what I can see is that the tailgate will be quite wide, extends fairly low. Skoda insiders claim that luggage space could be best in class, but that's something we'll have to wait once the final homologated figures come out.
My lips are sealed on the matter of space at the back.
Now, as for the interior, honestly, I cannot tell you much about it because I haven't seen much of it myself. It's all covered in different kinds of materials to hide it from view. But what I can tell you is that the Skoda Kylaq will come with a first-in-class power adjust for both front seats with ventilation.
Please feel free to write in the features you expect the Kylaq to come with in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the Autocar India channel and hit the bell icon to be notified every time we have a new video up.
Now, under the skin, the Kylaq is very closely related to the Kylaq. It's built on the same MQB A0iN platform. Now, the good thing is that that platform has been tested for the highest safety standards. The Kylaq and Slavia, if you recall, are both 5-star global NCAP rated cars, and that is a rating that Skoda is going to be attempting with the Kylaq as well. There'll be standard fit 6 airbags, there'll be ESC, ABS, as well as ISOFIX child seat mounts for the rear seats.
On to the heart of the matter, the engine.
The Skoda Kylaq will be a petrol-only model, and it'll be offered with the familiar Volkswagen Group 1.0 TSI engine. Now, this is a 1-liter direct injection turbo petrol engine that makes 115 horsepower and 178 Newton meters of torque, which are pretty good figures for this class of car. We know the engine from the Skoda Kylaq and Slavia and Volkswagen Polo, Taygun and Virtus. It's one very likable unit. This is an engine with a good degree of fun just built into it. The mid-range is punchy, and you can actually also rev the engine quite happily and heartily.
Performance in town and at low speeds is something we can comment on only when we get the Kylaq outside the confines of a racetrack.
Now, this is a 3-cylinder unit, so you will hear that thrum, but it's not obtrusive at any point. The engine will be available with 2 gearboxes. There'll be a 6-speed manual as well as a 6-speed torque converter automatic. Now, both gearboxes are sporty, though I did find the clutch travel on the manual slightly long. If you want to get rid of the bother of the clutch altogether, there is the option of the 6-speed automatic. Now, it's a nice gearbox. Again, you can have a lot of fun rowing through the gears manually. So this is perhaps going to be one of those compact SUVs that you can buy for the fun of driving.
On the subject of fun, the drive at the racetrack highlighted one of the Kylaq's other strengths, handling.
Now, in terms of handling, the Kylaq, again, it impresses. We've driven on the course track, we've driven on a go-kart track as well. Tighter corners, it feels very maneuverable. Again, stability is really good, whether you're taking high-speed corners or even just turning in very tightly onto the go-kart track. Very impressive. Turns in sharply. It does feel slightly softer setup at the back, so you can feel a bit more movement when you're attacking a corner. But on the whole, grip levels are really good. The handling is very predictable, and there is a margin of safety that's built into the handling package, which a lot of customers will appreciate. On a racetrack, actually, to really do justice to this chassis, perhaps Skoda should offer the 1.5 150 horsepower TSI engine, maybe as a Kylaq RS. There is a newfound degree of smoothness at the steering wheel. It doesn't quite dart into corners like the Kylaq did. I think that is a setup that a lot of typical customers will like. Of the other takeaways from the track experience is that the Kylaq drives like a proper VW group car. You expect that level of stability and show-footedness, and you get that on the Kylaq. We did a braking test from 80 to 0 kph, and it was really impressive. Slowed down and stayed true to its line. As for ride comfort, I must say I was pleasantly surprised. We've come to expect the Kylaq to move around a bit on poorly paved surfaces, and you can feel the imperfections come into the cabin. That's less of an issue on the Kylaq. It seems softer, damped, more absorbent, and that is very good for ride comfort.
There's no word on fuel economy for the moment, and prices will also be revealed only at the Kylaq's launch in 2025. However, Skoda has hinted at a competitive price tag within the segment. Our estimate is that the Kylaq range will start around 8.5 lakh rupees ex-showroom, with the fully loaded automatic versions coming in around 14.5 lakh rupees. At these prices, the Kylaq will not only go head-to-head with other compact SUVs, but will also eat into Kylaq 1.0 TSI sales. Pricing aside, Skoda says total cost of ownership, which includes service and maintenance costs, will also be competitive. Notably, Skoda expects the Kylaq to open doors for it in newer markets and has announced plans to expand its footprint across India too.
Now, the Skoda Kylaq will be revealed in full on November 6th and will go on sale in the first quarter of 2025. So it's still some time away from production, and what we see might not be what we get. It'll look pretty much as it does, but some tweaks to the suspension, engine and gearbox could be expected. But first impressions, very positive. This could be a car that really brings the numbers to Skoda and takes the competition to established players in the compact SUV segment.